So we are on chapter 36 now, and so far in the story they have worked out a way, or they're trying to work out a way to save the school from being closed by Offhead. So chapter 36 is called Bring It On. "How do you mean?" said Mr. Carter. "Well," said Ryan, getting on the stage and going towards the lectern, "this school was already under threat. Offhead have been unhappy with it for a while. Getting it back to how it was before isn't going to get it any more than another inadequate, which will still mean closure. It will? It will." Mr. Carter frowned. His shoulders slumped. "So what shall we do?" If any of the pupils or teachers at Bracket Wood thought it was a little odd at this point for the head teacher to be asking the naughtiest boy in school what they should do, they didn't show it, possibly because things have been a little weird at the school for a while now. "I think," said Ryan, "that what's needed is an idea, an event, something that could be put on here for the benefit of the Offhead inspectors that makes the school seem better than it normally is." "Like what?" Ryan laughed somewhat scornfully. It didn't sound like his normal laugh. "Well, Mr. Carter, I think that very much needs to come from you, seeing as you're the head teacher, aren't you?" Mr. Carter looked at him. He took a deep breath. Yes, I am. And so I have an idea." "Oh," said Ryan, nodding. "Great. Looking forward to it. What is it?" Yes? Yes? Ryan stuck his hands behind his ears, pushing them forward. "Really, I'm all ears." Mr. Carter looked out towards the full assembly hall. "To throw it open to the floor, to the school, to the kids, and then choose the best idea." "Right," said Ryan. "Great. That's going to work. Anyone?" We build a swimming pool in the playground and fill it with custard, and then have custard swimming races." "Okay, thanks, Casper. Maybe something easier than that?" "Calling Barrington Bummington, except we all do it at once." "Yes, you see, Maurice, we've stopped doing that. We've stopped just doing naughty stuff." "Have we? When?" "It's going well, Mr. Carter, isn't it?" said Ryan. "Debate!" shouted a girl's voice. Deonna's voice. "Sorry," said Ryan. "We kind of are," said Mr. Carter. "In a way, aren't we?" He pointed at Ryan. "Me and him, debating." "No, you're not," she said. "That's not debating. In a proper debate, there are two teams with, two people on them. They're called houses, and you have a motion, something serious and clever. Like, this house believes that the best things in life are free, or this house believes that freedom of speech is the basis of a just society. That's called a motion. And then one house argues for the motion and one against it. And then some judges decide who wins, which could be the Offhead inspectors." A murmur went around the assembly hall in response to this. Mr. Carter looked at Ryan. He raised an eyebrow. Ryan put his hand on his chin, stroking it. Not for the first time since he'd been transformed into her best friend, the head teacher inside Ryan thought, "That Deonna Baxter is really quite impressive." "You know what?" he said. "That isn't a terrible idea." "It's a brilliant idea. Well done, Deonna," Mr. Carter grinned. "But," continued Ryan, "if we really want to stage something that will impress the Offhead inspectors, I don't think that a debate just between two teams made up of Bracket Wood pupils is going to do it. I think we need to show them that this school can compete with other schools. I think we need to put on a debate where Bracket Wood takes on and beats another school, one that's been ranked good or even outstanding." "Yes," said Mr. Carter. "Yes," said Mr. Barrington, getting caught up in it all. "Yes," said the children in the hall. "Yay," said Miss Gerard with a yawn, slumping against the back wall. "So, which school are you thinking of?" said Mr. Carter. "I'm thinking, head teacher, of the only school in the area with a ranking of outstanding. Oakcroft." Everyone immediately went quiet. They all glanced at each other. The teachers frowned. Mr. Carter gulped and said, "Oakcroft?" Ryan nodded. "The really posh school that has loads of money and brilliant results, and whose debating team, I believe, also won the National Debating Challenge 3 years running?" asked Mr. Carter. Ryan nodded again. "But what if we lose? Which, is really possible. Won't that make it worse, in front of the inspectors?" Ryan nodded for the third time. "I think that may just be the risk we have to take," he said. Mr. Carter turned and looked with some fear towards Deonna, who was still standing at the back of the hall, her face a blank mask. But then, gradually, that mask turned into a face that was fierce, that was confident, that was defiant. "Bring it on," she shouted. And that is the end of that chapter.